All right, folks, no question today, but I want to share some of my regrets growing up. And I think some of these might help you with your trajectory of training and encourage you to take some action to help better your game and improve your life. It's only 6. So number 1, not riding my bicycle to school. I lived in middle school and even elementary school. I lived close enough where I could have rode my bicycle. And I think that's super important because not only would I have been able to get some good exercise riding my bicycle, but I think it just ties into good habits, right? If you're riding your bike, then maybe you're eating healthier. If you're eating healthier, you know, you're more focused, you're calmer, you get better sleep. So I think that's something that I wish someone would have encouraged me to do more, or I would have just taken initiative, not to mention some savings you could, you know, when you start to pay for your own gas. So I think that's actually a pretty big one. I wish I rode my bicycle to school more. And I love riding my bicycle, which is odd, right? You would think that I would just put 2 and 2 together. I don't know, you know, maybe I didn't have a locker. I don't know why. I just wish I would have rode my bike more. So that's number 1. Number 2, encouraged both my mom and my dad to juggle with me. So, you know, my dad played collegiate. He was actually recruited to play at both Harvard and Yale. He ended up playing at Colgate. My mom ended up playing soccer a little bit later in her life. But I wish that I would have encouraged both parents to juggle with me. You know, I started playing soccer at the age of 5 or 6, and have played from 5 or 6 for 27 years up until that point. And you know, you call 8 you know, up until 18 years old. 18 years old minus 5 or 6 years old, that's 10 plus years that both my mom and my dad, we spent easily over 10,000 hours going to and from practices, to games, traveling. And I think if I would have encouraged them to learn how to juggle with me, then they could have helped me warm up, you know, show up early and just juggle with them. You know, how long you think it takes to learn how to juggle a balloon, or to learn how to juggle a hacky sack? I could have started there with my parents, but I wish I would have asked them, or not even encouraged them to learn how to juggle. I would just ask them, can you juggle with me? Right? And then, you know, they use their thighs. First they're using their thighs, and then they get better and better and better. And I think with time, let's say we showed up 5 minutes early to practice, I could have helped them grow my life and grow their life. That's something that we could have enjoyed together. So that's something I want to encourage you to do. Get your parents to help you start juggling with you, and they could help you grow as a player. I talked about this one before, developing a structured practice routine. Right, I would go to practices, spend a lot of time, easily 10,000 hours, maybe close to 20,000 hours. I got to calculate that. Training, games, you know, traveling across Europe. I spent hours training, but I never really thought about a structured training routine. It was usually just, I didn't even have a good warm-up. Didn't think about a warm-up either. It was just get the ball moving. I would just juggle, and that my juggling was the warm-up, was the practice, but it was never, I didn't think about it. So I wish I would have developed a structured practice routine. So that's something that you can maybe start to think about and implement. This is something that, you know, one of my skills trainers used to tell me to do, and I neglected to do this. I wrote down, asking my best opponents for wisdom. So I started, you know, as you start growing up, you play against some very good opposition. You gotta ask, find the best player on the opposing team. Right? If you're the best player, or you're one of the best players on your team, it's a sign of respect, and you'll grow your life so fast and your game so fast. You ask your opponents after the game, say, hey man, you know, I thought you played great. I'm curious, what do you do, how do you train, and they would love to tell you. I genuinely think that the best players will share some of their thoughts and help you improve, or say, hey, you know, I think you're a great player. You got any suggestions for me or anything? Just engage them, strike up a conversation. So that's a big regret, not asking some of my opponents for wisdom that they could have made me better, and that's how I could have improved. I have it down here, showing up early for practice. So even just growing up, I wish I showed up earlier and started that practice routine. You could usually find me juggling, but I wish I was more thoughtful about showing up early and make a plan with my parents. If I showed up early, it was usually by accident and not intentional. And if I showed up early, I would usually just be juggling, but there wasn't really that much thought to it. So I wish I would have started showing up early for practice and go through my warm-up routine instead of just goofing off or just doing necessarily what my teammates were doing, you know, 2v5, things like that. I wish I would have taken showing up early more seriously. And the last one, I started, for some reason, I remember some games I took my own PKs and sometimes I didn't. And I don't know why I love scoring goals. Nothing makes me feel more electric, hi Kiki, than scoring goals. So I don't know, maybe I missed one and I stopped taking them, or I don't know. But so my rule of thumb to any player listening to this, thinking about this, take all your PKs, no matter what. Even if the referee sets the ball for you, take the ball, reset it for yourself on a tasty patch of grass, and set your PK, set up your penalty kick, and, you know, just put that sucker in the back of the net, right? Bury that, and don't even, you know, visualize and execute. Blast that thing, right? Take every single one of your PKs, and if you miss one during the game, I want you to, after the game, get that fear out of your head. So after the game of a PK you missed, let's say you miss a PK in a game, then after the game you take it again. You take it and you practice a couple times, and then make sure you go 3 for 3, 5 for 5. But just get the visualization, get the feeling of scoring that PK, and so that next time you're not going to hesitate, right? It's good to make mistakes. You got to learn from them. So those are my regrets. So I hope you can learn from them and grow. All right, thank you.